right, guys, welcome back to another edition of Music Monday from the podcast Nurture the Mind. I am your host, Cole Poots, and we have another music reaction. Today on the channel, we have another new artist to the channel. It is none other than Juice Wrld. And today we're going to listen to Misfit, which is off of his new album. And we're also going to watch the music video. So what I want to do here is I want to read a little bit, like the paragraph on iTunes talking about this album, because obviously it is a posthumous release. Juice Wrld died back in 2019, I believe. And I want to start this video off with a little precursor saying that, I know a little bit about Juice Wrld, not a ton. I listened to a few of his songs years ago, but I have not followed this man religiously. Really, I can't even remember how he passed away. I don't know his upbringing. I don't know his backstory. I just know that we're getting a posthumous album. And you always have to be really careful with posthumous album releases. I always kind of wonder, like, what is the intention of releasing this? Is the family, is the estate, is the record label, are they trying to make more money? Because obviously when you put that out, there's going to be plays, there's going to be listens, downloads, and the record company, the estate, they're gonna get that money. Like, I've seen it done before in sketchy ways, I think with XXXTentacion. So it makes me kind of skeptical, but then at the same time, I have seen it done the right way. When you think of Mac Miller and his family back in 2020, they put out Circles because it was intended to be a companion piece to Swimming. And when Mac Miller put out Swimming, he was essentially almost done with Circles and had a plan to release that. So they wanted to honor his wishes and get that out to the world. And even after that, they've released some of his old projects, old mixtapes. They put Faces mixtape out there for people to consume, so they didn't have to go research it on YouTube or, some other website or platform. Now it's actually on iTunes, it's actually on Spotify, and Mac Miller, his family, is gonna release one of his projects that once again was intended to be released at some point, and then it just got put back on, the back burner. So in January, I think it's like January 17th of 2025, Mac Miller, his album Balloonerism is dropping. And I think everybody should follow the method that his family has done. They got these old projects of Mac, whether they're, a lot older, somewhat older, or pretty recent. They are honoring Mac's legacy. And I think Mac was even quoted one time saying, in a joking sense, to Schoolboy Q, from the rapper from TDE, basically said, if I don't make it out of this, if I don't come back alive, make sure, you release all of my unreleased music to the world. I want people to hear that. So you just always got to be careful when you're looking at posthumous releases. I'm skeptical, man. I hope they're doing it for the right reason. But anyways, The Party Never Ends by Juice Wrld was just released on what day? November 29th, and the day that we are recording is November 30th, so the last day of November. And I'm just going to read this little bit, this intro here, and then we're going to go listen to the song. We're going to watch the music video. So it says, perhaps it's true that more unreleased music from the late Juice Wrld is never a bad thing, particularly for fans who grew up alongside the beloved rapper's melancholy melodies. His third and ostensibly final posthumous album, released just shy of the 5-year anniversary of his tragic death in 2019, fills the void with 18 more tracks of Misfit music. The themes of The Party Never Ends are familiar: doomed love, vicious cycles, numbing out, and fighting demons sung in an anguished warble over emo-inflicted trap beats. What a description. But it's profoundly chilling to hear Juice deliver lines like oxycodone knows my soul, makes me whole, death melodies on my stereo, oxycodone. Or when he concludes on Misfit, I was pretty cool in my last life, nor does it feel much like a party when Eminem, one of Juice's biggest inspiration, recounts his own struggles with addiction on Lace It. Do not think I take it for granted that I'm still here. Synthetic heroin, you tried to kill me, then murdered Gerard, didn't you? Then he warns young listeners, I ain't lecturing you, but man, just be careful. All right, so maybe Juice was working on this. Obviously, I don't know if he ever anticipated that he was going to pass away at such a young age. So, maybe this will be a pleasant listen. Maybe it will give us some more context. Sounds like there might be some hard lyrics to digest in here. It's always weird, listening to posthumous music releases from, an artist that's passed away. Especially, I always go back to Mac, and maybe we'll see it with Juice WRLD. But, Mac was pretty open about everything, about his struggles with drug addiction, just the demons that he was fighting. And so it's always, pretty chilling to go back and listen to that music, because I can't tell you how many times throughout his projects where he was essentially forecasting his death. So I don't know if Juice WRLD, again, I have a very slim exposure to Juice WRLD, so I'm not sure if he's done that before in his music. I'm sure he has, if he battled with drugs as well. I mean, how could you not talk about it? Yeah, so let's get into it. Let's go watch the music video. We're going to listen to Misfit. I guess if we get through it pretty fast, then if we have some time, I might go listen to another one. But we're going to at least start there. Okay, we got a little kid on a bike. 2018. Smoking weed?
Open this door. I know you can hear me. You better not be smoking in there.
Uh-oh, he got caught.
Just go on, air it out.
Can't deal with you anymore. I want you out.
Shit. Mom is kicking him out.
Good riddance. I don't think you can just come back whenever you feel like it.
Where are you going?
He forgot his headphones.
Been gone for a while, buddy. Mom's having a really hard time.
But I don't want you to go anywhere.
It's okay. It's for the best. Mom would be better taking care of one kid. Don't worry about me. I have somewhere I can go.
One main girl, fuck a mistress, oh. Heart still hurt like a wristlet, oh. I don't fit in.
Look at that hair.
First thing on my mind is to get rich, oh. One main girl, fuck a mistress, oh. Heart still hurt like a wristlet, oh. I don't fit in, I'm a misfit, oh.
Look at that old Honda. Not super old, but
that means I don't fit, no, I don't fit in. I just bought a cool baby girl, get in. Lord forgive me, I know I'm a sin tonight. Probably get high with my friends tonight. Have a menage in the Benz tonight. Probably go and fuck on some twins tonight. Papa Xanax, so I'll forget it tonight. Went to LA, almost missed my flight twice. I was off the Xans that night, right? Almost died on them, that's the last flight. I was pretty cool in my last life. One main girl, fuck a mistress, oh. Heart still hurt like a wristlet, oh. I don't fit in, I'm a misfit, oh. First thing on my mind is to get rich, oh. One main girl, fuck a mistress, oh. Heart still hurt like a wristlet, oh. I don't fit in, I'm a misfit, oh. First thing on my mind is to get rich, oh.
Oh shit, there he is.
Tell them niggas check my swag. Yours too bad. Take that back. I quit drugs, then relapse. I run back like gym class. Brand new bitch, I need it. If it's too good, I'll keep it. Be my Victoria's Secret. Be my Victoria's Secret. One nigga girl for the mistress, oh. Heart still hurt like a wrestling, oh. I don't fit in, I'm a misfit, oh. First thing on my mind is to get rich, oh. One main girl for the mistress, oh. Heart still hurt like a wrestling, oh. I don't fit in, I'm a misfit, oh. First thing on my mind is to get rich, oh.
Interesting. Music video, once again, man, just like last week with Jack Harlow. It's not that the music isn't important. I just think when you have a good music video, it's trying to tell some type of story, it almost captivates you so much that you forget about the song. You're not really paying attention to the sound or to the lyrics. Like I had to remind myself throughout the reaction while I was watching it to try and pick up on those things. Yeah, if we talk about music, do I think it was a bad song? No. I guess maybe one complaint that I would have is, to me, it felt like the instrumental was pretty quiet all throughout. I mean, there were a few times where like the bass kicked in. I kind of just wish that we had more of that. We had more of that oomph. Like, to me, in some ways with the instrumental, it felt like the song kind of lacked life to it, if that makes sense. Maybe that was a deliberate decision. If we're talking about being a misfit, if we're talking about being on drugs, knowing that I'm going to go hang out with my friends tonight, we're going to get high and we're going to commit sins. Maybe that was a strategic move. You know, that he wanted it to be laid back like that, be melancholy, because that's the sort of feeling that you might get when you're on those types of drugs. I don't know. Not really a criticism. It's just what I noticed, what I identified. So yeah, I caught on to some of those lyrics. Just watching the music video, the guy getting kicked out of his mom's house because he's smoking weed, and talks to his little brother and says it's gonna be okay, like I got a place to go to. And he walks inside of this house, and it's like you can already see most of the people there are just like dazed and high, and it just looks messy and kind of barren. And just made me think for a second. Like, I was super blessed in my life to never try any hard drugs, and I can't even imagine or fathom what it would be like to get hooked to a substance like that, because I never had that experience. I imagine it fucking sucks. I imagine it's pretty hard. I just don't know what that experience is like because I never went that route. I've talked about it on the channel before, but the only things that I experimented with was I drank. I drank alcohol when I was in high school. It's probably when I started, and did that, up until college. And then the last time that I ever had a sip of alcohol was January 1st of 2022. So it's almost been 3 years since I had my last drink. And then I smoked weed, and I started when I was late. I was a late bloomer. I started smoking when I was 19, and I only did that for about 3 or 4 years, because then in the midst of the pandemic, that's when I made a conscious decision that I wasn't going to smoke anymore. So, March of 2020. So when March of 2025 hits, it'll be 5 years since I did that. I don't know. I've just had no desire. I've never gravitated towards going further down that route. They say like marijuana, pot, it's a drug, it's a gateway drug. It never took me to harder drugs. So I don't know if there's any validity to that statement. It's probably more so my belief is that if you have some type of addictive personality, it's easier for you to get addicted to certain things and want to chase the high and want to get more of a high. So, you know, once pot isn't enough, you know, that's when I think a lot of people go to those harder substances. You know, we would have to study Juice World, Mac Miller, like all of these people, you know, that experimented with drugs. You know, it's like you got the whole world in your hands, essentially, just being this insanely big artist, this rap and hip hop artist. And it's like, what makes them gravitate towards that type of lifestyle? Is it just because of the industry that they're in and this persona or this image that they want to keep up? Like, I think it's kind of nasty how for the longest time in rap and hip hop especially, like, drugs have been glorified. And it's like, where did that start and why is it the case? Like, I'm gonna be flat out fucking honest. You know, some people may think that they're cool for doing certain drugs and you may be able to get away with that for a while, but I'm a, you know, hot news flash. Like, doing drugs is it's not cool. I mean, I guess maybe if you're talking these harder drugs to have an experience, I guess, you know, if you never got addicted to it, if you did it like once in a blue moon, then maybe you could say it's not such a bad thing. But, you know, it's just a scary path that a lot of people can go down, and then you find yourself in this situation like Juice did, like Mac did, is like, oh man, like I've been doing this for a long time. Like, there's got to be a point where there's absolutely no return. And so, yeah, that's just like the image and that came to my head and the things that I was thinking about as the guy that got kicked out. He walks into that house. But kind of like a redeeming quality with the music video is he's got this girl that he likes, and she obviously is interested in him. You know, they're making eyes across the room when he comes into the house, and then throughout the music video, you can just see them getting closer, starting to hold hands, kissing at the bonfire, going to the concert together, and she's concerned the moment that he gets in a fight and he gets kicked out. And she follows him. So that was cool to watch as well. You know, I'm a big sucker for that stuff, and I think it's because I've been single for a long time. And so if I ever see something like that, like a man and a woman developing feelings, getting intimate with each other, whether it's like a movie, a TV show, a music video, I'm like, oh man, you know, that's cute. Like that hits the heartstrings, because I think, you know, most humans, that's what we desire, is to find a person where we could have that same thing with. And so that was a really cool quality about the music video. But yeah, man, I'd have to go back and look at the lyrics. I think it was not like super complicated, you know, again, just him talking about maybe how he's felt growing up, feeling like he's some type of misfit, getting into drugs. You know, when he's talking about being a misfit is essentially when the kid that gets kicked out, he gets in the car and his friend's got, you know, the spiky hair. He looks like Travis Barker from Blink-182, like way back in the day. You know, that was a whole movement of people that felt like in society that they didn't fit in. And so when they found their niche like that, the music that they gravitated towards, the shows that they went to, the artists that they followed, you know, they found a lot of people that were a lot like them. And I guess in some ways I can kind of resonate with that message, like being a misfit. You know, maybe I don't dress that way. Maybe I don't consider myself in that same regard. But something that has happened to me continuously throughout my life is that I've always felt like I was different than a lot of people. And what I mean by that is not saying like I'm special or anything. Like, I'm not trying to put some type of flex out there. I'm just saying that, like, in regards to the way in which I think and how I process things and how I'm trying to conduct myself as this very, like, authentic person, like, that's kind of like, it's always been my North Star. It's always been my guiding movement throughout this life, is to be authentic, because I feel like when you put out authenticity in the world, hopefully in return, that's what you will get back for yourself. But I've just felt so disconnected to, especially people that are close to my age, the younger generations, you know, a lot of the girls that I've dated, the girls that I've talked to. And, you know, I've had a lot of older adults, other adults, people that, you know, I've talked to, like in conversations or whatever, have told me the same thing. They're like, dude, like, just the way that you speak, the way that you interact, the way that you engage with people, the way that you conduct yourself, the things that you want out of life. Like, I can just tell, man, like you're an old soul. You were born in an unfortunate era that doesn't kind of match who you are. And I'm not trying to say I'm special or I'm different than anybody. It's just the way that I felt. I feel like we live in a very superficial day and age. We live, obviously, in a digital age where a lot of us are guilty of this, where we are living vicariously through our phones, looking at other people's lives on social media, on YouTube. We do more things online than what we actually do in person. And it's god awful. It's actually terrifying. And so I'll just giving like a small example, just like so many times in the dating market, talking to somebody, dating somebody, I try my best, when I'm busy, when I'm preoccupied with something, to try not to check my phone. And I know that has had a negative impact on some of my relationships or the girls that I was talking to, because they thought that I wasn't interested in them just because I wasn't married to my phone. It's like, not at all. I'd rather do something in person. I'd rather connect with you in person. So it's just crazy where we've gotten ourselves to as a society and as a culture. I do think it's getting a little bit better in America. I do think it's rebounding a little bit, especially with, the America First movement, getting Donald Trump elected as president once again. You can kind of see that the culture is shifting back to common sense. So that's good. That gives you hope. But just to wrap up this whole thing, like, I really identify with him talking about himself, referring to himself as some type of misfit, like I don't fit in, because I have definitely felt that way for a large portion of my adult life. And I'm hoping what will happen is that by being that way, again, eventually I will attract the right people, the right partner into my life. Even if it's a small circle that I have, I would be, ultimately super content with that. Like, I have 2 best friends in my life, and then I have some friends outside of that, that maybe not best friends, but whatever, still like relatively close. Maybe I don't talk to on a consistent basis, but I can think of 2 people that I go to for everything. And, it makes me think back to high school and college and whatnot, when you're really just starting to become influenced by your peers. And a lot of people, they become victim to the group thing, to be persuaded by other people, to fall victim to the peer pressure from other people. And, I never understood people, whether it was back in high school or it was back in college, these people that were popular, that had like a ton of friends. It's like, okay, cool. Like, maybe you have this extension of a group of 20 friends, but does that really mean that with all those friends that you have, that there's actually this deeply interwoven bond with all 20 of those people? I don't think it's possible, because your attention would be spread across that network of people. But, when you have a small circle, when you have a few people that you're really close to, like, that bond is inseparable, because it's like, if I have like 2 or 3 really close friends, that just ensures that I've like spent a ton of time, establishing that connection, that root, that foundation, to the point where like it's unbreakable. Like, I think of my 2 best friends, Dakota and Danny. It's like, I know, like, no matter what, like, they will be a part of my life for the rest of my life. And it doesn't matter how long I am not able to talk to one of them. Luckily, one of them is my coworker, so I get to see her on a consistent basis. But like with Dakota, it's like, he's got his life, I got my life. We don't live in the same town. We're somewhat like 45 minutes away from each other. So life gets in the way, right? Because we're adults, and that's just what happens, is life gets kind of tricky as you get older. But like him and I, we might not talk for a month, 2 months, and it's so crazy. Like, we'll reach out to one another, we'll get back together, we'll catch up, and it'll be like nothing ever happened. There was no time that was lost. We pick up right where we left off, and it's such a beautiful thing. So yeah, man, there's definitely things about this song that I resonate with. I'll go back at some point and I'll listen to it again, see if I get any different thoughts. Honestly, I want to listen to the whole album because I do think, you know, the minimal exposure that I've had to Juice WRLD, I do think he's a really good artist and I think he had a really great ability. And it's just one of those other situations and circumstances where it was a really young artist that was taken away from us too soon. You know, again, I referenced earlier in the video, I mean, you got Juice WRLD, you got XXXTentacion, you had Lil Peep, Chester Bennington, a little bit older, but still shouldn't have passed away, Mac Miller, Kurt Cobain. Yeah, I mean, you could think of like so many people. But guys, that's the reaction. That's the review. Honestly, right now, I feel like I'm about to shit because I've had so much caffeine. I had a First Form energy drink, and now I'm on to Jocko Go. So a second energy drink, and I feel like my bowels are stimulated. So that might have been too much information, but I'm just being honest with you guys. Before we duck out of here, 4 things that I ask that you do. If you enjoyed this, if you thought I provided value, if you thought it was entertaining, if you enjoyed it, if it wasn't a waste of your time. 4 things that I ask that you do. Don't gotta do all 4, but please do one of the 4. If you're new here, especially, please subscribe to the channel. 2, like the video. 3, share the message. You can do that on social media. You can spread it word of mouth, have conversations with people, or comment in the comment section below. Love hearing from you guys. Love interacting and engaging with you guys and embracing dialogue. You know, doing any of those 4 things, it really just helps my content get pushed out there. The YouTube algorithm, if you will, really likes to see that. And it's like, oh, people enjoy this content. Let me push it out to more people. So please do me a solid and grow the channel. I love you guys so much. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.